Okay, so I've decided to add a twist to this program, and we're going to allow the user to either enter degrees or convert Fahrenheit to Celsius or Celsius to Fahrenheit, and maybe we can add some radio buttons to allow the user to make that distinction. So what I'm going to do first, and this is the kind of thing I probably would not cover until later in the course, but there's really no harm in throwing these in here now. It's just a different kind of control. So in addition to the label and the text box and the button and the picture box, now you're going to have the radio buttons. So let's add a couple of these. What you want to do if you're going to add radio buttons that behave together as a group, then you want to go into the containers first and add what we call a group box. Okay, and so I'm just going to draw a group box here. And this is not an essential control, so I really don't have to give it a nice meaningful name. I am going to change the text property, excuse me, to convert. Okay, I think I'll also change, see if I can change the back color to something transparent, so it doesn't look gray like that. I'll go to the web palette and go to transparent, so that looks pretty good. And so now I have my group box in place, and I'm going to drop a radio button in there, like so. Okay, and this one, now this is going to be an essential control. I'm going to call it RAD, that's the prefix I want you to use for radio buttons. And this will be F to C, this is Fahrenheit to Celsius. Okay, and then the text property, we'll say Fahrenheit to Celsius. Okay, and so there's that one. And then I will add one more in there. And this one we will call RAD C to F. This one's going to be Celsius to Fahrenheit. I'm going to change the text property to Celsius to Fahrenheit. Okay. So let's make this one the default, Fahrenheit to Celsius the default. And you can do that by setting the checked property. By default it's false, but this one we're going to change to true. So now he's the one that's selected. And let me just show you real quickly. We run this, these radio buttons behave as a group. So when one is checked or selected, the other one becomes deselected. Because we put them in the group box, they behave naturally as a group like that, which is what we want. I think a nice touch would be, you know, I don't want this saying Fahrenheit if they've selected Celsius to Fahrenheit. Okay, so I want to, depending on what is selected, I want the label to change. So if they're doing Fahrenheit to Celsius, let's have it say this. But if they want Celsius to Fahrenheit, we want it to say enter temperature in degrees Celsius. So let's do that in this video, and then maybe I'll do a second video for the functionality, the main functionality here. So what we'll do is I'm going to double click this Fahrenheit to Celsius here. Okay. And notice the default event handler for a radio button is its checked changed event. Okay, so when somebody clicks on that, this event, it clicks on that radio button, this event is going to fire. And in that case, let me go in here and copy this so I don't have to type it all out. Okay. If this is the case, then that label, oh, you know what, I did not name that label. I said it wasn't an essential control in the previous program. Let me see, I'm going to make this an essential control. It is an essential control. I want to give it a nice, meaningful name. Let's call it LBL prompt user. This is the prompt to the user. Okay, I don't want label 1. I could have left it at label 1, but when you have an essential control, meaning the name of that control is going to appear in your code, you want to give it a good descriptive name so you know what you're looking at. Label 1 is not a good descriptive name. So getting back to this, we'll say LBL prompt user dot text equals Okay, so this is what we wanted to say if they've checked the F to C radio button, the Fahrenheit to Celsius radio button. Okay, let's do the same thing for this one, though. I'm going to double click the Celsius to Fahrenheit. Okay, and all I have to do is copy this, paste it in. I'm going to switch it around, not even switch it around, I'm just going to put Celsius in here. Okay, that should do it. Let's go ahead and run it. We'll test it. Okay, so here it is. Enter temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. Watch me select this one. Enter temperature in degrees Celsius. I think maybe I would right align this label so it's always to the right, everything's right aligned here, but that's not a big deal. But so you can see it switches back and forth as I'm changing the radio button. So that's a radio button's checked, changed event. And again, double click from the front end to get, not only generate the sandwich, but have it wired up behind the scenes. You always want to be going through the front end. Any event handler you're coding, you're going to be coding a lot of them, you have to initiate those through the front end. And in order for that wire up to be generated behind the scenes. Okay, so in the next video we will do the actual temperature conversion.